Yesterday I shared that I'm starting a new project to build out a whole load of SEO-related agency domains. These are exact match domains that I want to rank on Google and AI tools as fast as possible. I'm going to be walking you through each and every one, how I build it, and I'm going to be using a range of different techniques for every one. So make sure you like this video and subscribe, because each video is going to be a slightly different process. And of course the results are going to vary, but I'm starting off with 26 domains. There's a very strong chance we're going to be getting some serious SEO clients out of this. Now, if you want to be more involved, and I've just launched my free school community, and many of you have already joined, and I'm loving some of this fabulous feedback I'm already getting within 24 hours. Thank you for sharing all this content, it's gold. Thank you, Eli. And Franklin says, I know you've been in the YouTube comments quite active. I've been consuming your content, guys, videos recently, and I can say you are the best in the industry. Thank you very much, I appreciate it. So come along and join the discussion. As part of this project, I'm relying on exact match domains where the keyword is actually in the .com. And if you join the free school community and go to Classroom, then we've got my exact match domain hunter course. This is where I reveal every step to actually finding these high value domain names, because trust me, no matter what industry you're in, there are still some really good exact match domains still available for just $15 or so. Now, I've already registered about 26 of them. So the question now is, how do I prioritize myself? And for me, that all comes down to competition. Personally, I think there's no point if you've got this big niche, 2,000 searches a month, but you're not even going to make a dent in it. Throughout my whole career, back when I was an affiliate, now that I'm an agency, it's always better to be a bigger fish in a small pond. So I always go in terms of low-hanging fruit. I always go for low competition first, because if you can dominate a low competition niche, then that's going to provide you with the cash flow you can reinvest to go after the bigger, more competitive niches. Even when I was still employed, I was able to do that for an insurance company. They were spending 10 grand a month on paid ads and getting nowhere because they were competing for big home insurance terms. Whereas as soon as I identified literally 2 to 3 low-hanging fruit keywords, I published the blog posts, and within a week, the phone started ringing with desperate people looking for those very specific kinds of insurance. And now, years later, that's the number one thing we start off with for our clients. As soon as a client comes on board, what are the quick wins we can get them to provide ROI, cover their burn rate, to then invest in building and scaling after bigger keywords? If that's of interest to you, then click the link below and you can book a free strategy call with my team to try and find what low-hanging fruit is in your niche, where you can rank on page 1 faster and start generating that ROI. But for now, I've got 26 domains to build, and which one should I build first? Well, the answer is I'm going to drop in my full invoice into Chatbots and say, extract the keywords targeted by these exact match domains. And the purpose of this is I use Ahrefs to put in a few filters and actually find the keywords I wanted to target. If you want to know more about that, then go back to my previous video where I laid the groundwork for finding these domains. I was basically looking at traffic value versus competition versus volume to try and find some good niche-specific SEO agency domains. And then once I'd registered those that were available, I've now got those .coms, but I now need to go back into the tools to work out, of all these 26 domains, which have got the lowest competition. So ChatGPT has given me a bit of a start, but I want to remove all this formatting, and just give me the plain keywords, 1 line each. So everything we were doing before involved taking those keywords and shrinking them into blocks of text to basically bolt a .com on the end. Now we want to put the spaces back in to get back to the keywords. So I'm going to copy all of those. Now I'm going to open up the Ahrefs Keyword Explorer, focusing on the United States. I'm going to drop all these keywords in here. And now I'm going to get all the metrics back for those keywords. So it'd be very easy just to focus on search volume. But like I say, some of these are going to be really competitive. I'm just not going to make a dent. Whereas the purpose of these case studies is I want to show you how quick SEO can be potentially. It doesn't have to take 3 to 6 months if you do it in the right way. Now at this point, it'd be very easy to just sort by Ahrefs' own keyword difficulty or whatever tool you're using. But keyword difficulty is pretty limited because it tends to look at page level backlinks, which is definitely a key ranking factor and very important, But very often you'll find you go after a low competition or supposedly low keyword difficulty keyword, and then what you find is the top 3 results have got domain ratings of 90, 80, and 70 competing with you. So even though the individual page might not have many backlinks and the URL rating, the URL authority is quite low, the power of the domain means you're quite unlikely to outrank that particular site. So what I much prefer to do is use Ahrefs' relatively new feature of lowest DR. Now it used to be I would go through these individually and try and find which of these keywords have got lower DR competitors in the top 5 and top 10. Obviously if there's a DR 0 ranking, DR is the power of the domain based on its backlink profile. So a big established household name is going to be up in the 70s and 80s, whereas a new entrant that's never done any link building could be 0 to 10. It's obviously a lot easier to go after keywords where there's low DR sites in the top 10. So that used to be a manual process one by one, but Ahrefs about a year ago made it much easier with this lowest DR filter. So I'm going to be quite aggressive with this. Let's see, is there a DR of 5 in the top 5 for any of these keywords? I doubt it. Okay, there actually is. So we've got orthodontist SEO company, SEO for nursing homes, accountant SEO services. So the next things I tend to look at are CPC and search volume. CPC is how valuable the traffic is based on what you would pay for that keyword in Google Ads. So it's only an estimate, but the estimate is that for orthodontist SEO company, if you're using paid ads, every click is worth $40 because that traffic is very likely to convert. Therefore, the market is deciding that traffic is valuable. Every click, $40. And we can get that for free by using SEO. Then we look at search volume. Again, orthodontist wins in this case, 400 searches or 300 searches per month, 400 searches globally. Traffic potential is also quite useful. That's where these keywords, not everyone's going to type the same keyword over and over again. So yes, there's going to be 400 searches a month for orthodontist SEO company, but how many searches are there going to be for orthodontist SEO or SEO for orthodontists? So traffic potential is what happens when you aggregate all those keywords together. So you take the top result for orthodontist SEO company and you look at what other keywords they're ranking for and what's the total traffic from all those different searches. So in this case, SEO for nursing homes actually wins on traffic potential. So at this point, these are both equally valid. So let's have a look at the actual search results and we can decide further. But if they're not launched today, they'll be launched tomorrow. So let's go down to the actual search result. And you can see here, very low competition. So yes, DR of 59 at number 2, we're unlikely to outrank that. But a domain rating of 13, that's wide open. Domain rating of 0, easy. This could actually be a walk in the park. And then there's domain rating of 8 at number 9. Now it's pretty interesting here in terms of looking at the actual search result and the search intent. In other words, what is Google rewarding? And this tends to vary with different Google updates. So a few years ago when affiliate was big, you could find e-com related search terms. So literally search for a product name and you would get 10 blog posts all talking about the best product name from all these affiliate bloggers where they were trying to be an expert on all the products in that niche and which one was the best. Over the last few years, Google's been pushing back against that style of content. Now it's far more common that if you put a product name, everything you're going to get will be e-com sites. And similarly, increasingly, we're seeing searches like this, where SEO for nursing homes seems to me to be more of a product or service-based keyword, and yet looking at the results, we seem to have a lot of guides. So what is nursing home SEO? The best SEO strategies for senior living facilities, explanatory informational guides, rather than a service page saying, we offer SEO for nursing homes. So that's a pro and a con. On one hand, it kind of seems like that Google is struggling to fulfill this search because there's not many services coming up for this, and those that are very low DR. But on the other hand, it could well be that Google is only looking for informational content there. Now, this is something I'm always telling people about SEO, that you take a keyword for a service page, for instance, like door installation, and then most people's natural inclination when they think about SEO is to write an informational guide, and they'll say the top 5 things to remember about door installation. And that's just not the case. You need to understand the search intent. If someone is searching for door installation, then your H1, your title, should literally just be door installation, we do door installation, book a quote today. And then your actual long form content should all be about your service. You do want to include lots of expertise in there to establish yourself as an authority in the way that Google understands, because Google's got its knowledge graph, it understands these entities and the relationships between these entities. Therefore, you need to have the right stuff on your page. If you've only got 50 words and a Gmail address, Google just doesn't really understand what your page is about, so you've not been comprehensive enough. The way I always explain this is if you write an article on the top 10 business coaches, then you probably want to include a lot of the big names like Tony Robbins or Gary Vee. This is why all the search results tend to look the same, where if you look for the top 10 of anything, it kind of feels like the same article over and over again, because Google's got this idea of consensus, and you need to align with that consensus. You can make small tweaks and say my brand is better than that brand, but if you come along with content that's completely different to what Google's already rewarding, then you're unlikely to rank. So let's just go through some of these, and it does appear that these are long-form informational blog posts. There's actually not much content on this top result, so that's great news for us. That suggests low competition. Let's look at this one. Again, this could well be just an AI blog post, basically. So this is really interesting. We're not seeing a whole lot of services. Now this one is more of a service page, and this is from Thrive Agency. Now this is really interesting because it looks like they've done pretty good content here, and it's a much more commercial service-based search intent. They've got a domain rating of 80, and yet they're right down at number 7 for nursing home SEO. So intriguing. It does seem like for this particular keyword, Google is rewarding information far more than commercial content saying this is what we provide. But that's enough analysis for now, because we've got some tools that are going to make this far easier. And we're basically going to have a mix of commercial page content of here's who we are and what we offer, and then the informational authority building stuff underneath, where we talk about all the theory and tips. Let's now have a look at Orthodontist SEO Company. Open link in new tab. Let's scroll down. And we've actually got a domain rating of 2 at number 1, but you'll notice it's orthodontistseo.com. So once again, I get lots of pushback saying exact match domains don't work anymore. Google patched that 10 years ago. Have you ever looked at a Google result before? Orthodontist SEO, domain rating of 2, gets 550 visitors per month as an estimate. The value of that traffic, if they got that with paid ads, would be $7,000 per month. And they're even outranking a DR of 72 down here. So this is actually looking more competitive. In terms of the search intent, we can see Thrive Agency again is quite high up. I'm almost seeing more listicles here. So we've got, this is looking quite informational, but no, I'm wrong. That is a commercial page. It's basically saying book a call, book a call. This one's obviously a service page. This one says best orthodontic SEO company. So that's much more of a listicle, I think. Nope, not a listicle. It's just promoting one company. So again, the interesting thing here is the search result actually feels kind of broken. It kind of feels like no one here really knows what they're doing. The content is all a bit weak. It seems very AI driven. It's not like we're getting elite level content here. That's just my personal opinion from a quick 5-minute check. However, the metrics are actually telling me that nursing homes is the way to go. So let's get that site live. So here I'm going to go to manage. Now a lot of this depends on which host you're actually using. I'll generally start sites just with Namecheap and Namecheap shared hosting. I've got a server for around $10 a month. I can put a load of sites on it. So for testing purposes, that's fine. Obviously down the line, you do want to upgrade. Shared hosting has its limitations. But for now, we're just testing. And all I need to do is change from Namecheap basic DNS to Namecheap web hosting DNS. If you're using a separate host, you need to follow their instructions and basically set the DNS and name servers so that your domain then forwards to that other hosting. But for now, Namecheap shared is fine with me. If any of these become a major website, then I can upgrade and migrate at any time. Plenty of really good hosts out there like WPX. They'll offer free 24-hour migrations when you sign up. So it's just not a problem. So now I can go to my various servers. Basically, when you set up shared hosting, you need to assign a domain name to that hosting. But that's pretty much as far as it goes. Don't let it confuse you. You can have myserverhost.com and then throw in all your different exact match domains under that same hosting. So I'm now going to just click here and go to cPanel. cPanel basically allows you to manage that server. So we've got a WordPress manager here. This all comes default with Namecheap. But first I'm going to add my domain, because currently this hosting doesn't know it exists. So I'm trying not to reveal all my domains on this server, but now we go to domains and then create a new domain. And we know that this is SEOfornursinghomes.com. But if you're in doubt, make sure you copy it directly from your registration. Then this bit can get a bit complicated. You want this domain to stand on its own on the server as its own domain. You don't want to come up as myhosting.domain / my exact keyword domain. So we don't want to share the document root in that case. So I'll now submit that. And then the server is then aware that that domain exists. So we've got Namecheap pointing to its own hosting, and the hosting now knows to expect that. Now I can go to the WordPress manager and click install, and then we just select our domain from the list. We actually get a free SSL for a year with Namecheap, but I tend to put all my domains on CloudFlare anyway, where you then get a free SSL anyway, so we can install it on HTTPS. Now when doing this project, I have played around with the idea of, do I want to launch all these sites at once in bulk using AI and just have pre-made templates that then get spun up on the server, hosted statically with HTML? But I don't think I'm going to do it. I don't think I'm just going to chase that shiny object of every AI for the sake of AI. I think in this case, for so many of you watching, rather than spending 8 hours trying to automate something, instead I can just spend 10 minutes to do it right. Done is better than perfect. Most of you watching only need a couple of sites anyway. This is just about ranking quickly for your core commercial terms and making profit. It's not about launching 1,000 websites at once, just to show how good AI can be, and then it all turns into a mess. So we'll do a couple of AI builds, but I'm not going to do some massive one-click launch. Now, site name, this is what's going to actually appear on Google. We're going to set the homepage as just a static page of content. So we can edit this later, but for the time being, I like to go with that keyword we're targeting, because again, we're all going for relevance. So the website is SEO for nursing homes. The title is SEO for nursing homes. We want to try and persuade Google that our actual company name is the keyword. And we'll take out that site description. I've also stupidly showed all my login information here, so I shall reset that. That's now reset and hidden, so don't be cheeky. We get a few basic plugins installed for free, why not? And now we click install. And this should only take a minute. While we're waiting for that to go through, I'm going to head over to Surfer SEO. There's various alternatives to Surfer around. The key thing is we're actually looking at the search results in the top 10 that Google is rewarding. Surfer's going to scrape all of those and work out everything that they're doing that we should be doing. So click on new content. We're going to add in our keyword. We want national, United States. You can go down to individual locations if you want, but this we're targeting nationally, and then create. And this is going to create us a template. So meanwhile, the site is now ready. So it really doesn't take long to set up these sites anyway. So I can now go to Softaculous and just click login. Okay, the SSL still isn't right. And now this site has been installed with Extendify, which I've been using a lot in the last year or so. It's a very basic AI website builder. And it basically means you put in the basic prompt, and it'll then give you a pretty basic template in Gutenberg, the WordPress drag and drop editor. But it looks a lot better than just a straightforward plain page of text. So I do tend to use this whenever I can. So we want professional, describe your website, SEO agency for nursing homes. That's all we really need to do. And it's just going to create a load of filler. So little service blocks, little explanations, and then we can go in and improve that over time. We're just going to have one page with different sections. No, we're not going to have a phone number, not going to have a blog, not going to be visited in person. And that's now designing. And we basically get to just pick the visual layout that we like. So nursing homes, I'm thinking healthcare. I'm going to go for clean, cold, minimal. These are all pretty good actually. I do not need to stress too long about this, particularly as the site's not actually ranking for anything yet. I'm going to go for this one. And the great thing about using Extendify is it's highly customizable and editable, because it just takes existing WordPress elements within the WordPress editor. So it's not like you're going to have this beautiful layout and then find you can't move things around or insert any text. So while that's generating in the background, let's see how our template is coming along. So this is saying we need 3,800 to 4,300 words. Now it's shocking how many websites and enterprises are still not using correlational tools like Surfer, Page Optimizer Pro, Market Muse, Neuron Writer. There's plenty out there. Most people just aren't using them. Now for easily 15, 20 years, the market leaders in basically on-page SEO tools have been Yoast and Rank Math, and there's a few others out there as well now. But they tend to use predefined best practices. So write 700 words and use the keyword 5 times, and all of that is preset. Now for beginners, that's a lot better than just going in blind and not knowing anything about SEO and having something to work towards. So if you have used WordPress, you probably had those traffic lights at the bottom of your editor. But given where we're at with SEO now, where we're quite a high level, it's very competitive now, it's just not good enough. Whereas tools like this, they'll look at the top 10 and work out exactly what is working for that particular keyword. And that's what we need. Now, the fact we've got such long content here, that's ringing alarm bells for me. So I'm going to click the gear icon here and just look at what the average is, because I'm suspecting 1 or 2 sites, yes, have actually inflated that metric to an unreasonable amount. So you can see we've got 800 words at number 1, 3,500, 1,100, but then here we've got 12,000 words on 7 steps to successful SEO for assisted living. And again, that's quite an old way of thinking. Certainly in the days of affiliate blogging, there was this concept that content length was a ranking factor. So different people were competing just to write more and more content on the page. And it just meant for some keywords, the average word count was 8,000 words. And Google really didn't like that because it costs money to crawl and understand all of that content. So these days, content length really isn't that important. As you can see here, it's actually the lowest word count that's ranking at number 1. So I'm going to customize this template now and actually take off the 12,000 words. So now we can get a more realistic word count that's easier for us to produce, and it's not going to give Google a massive amount of text to crawl. So now it's just 1,800 to 2,100 words, which is far more reasonable. 1,500 to 2,500 words is pretty much standard across most niches. Now the first thing we actually need is the H1, and like I said earlier, I want to get away from this top 5 tips for SEO for nursing homes or things you need to know about SEO for nursing homes. I'm just going to say SEO for nursing homes, and it could be best SEO agency for senior living, something like that. It can just be the keywords as well though, because someone searching for SEO for nursing homes, they see a page called SEO for nursing homes. Again, the human psychology element and what Google's looking for, they're very similar. Now we're going to turn this into a H1. That's our main heading for the page. So already we've got a content score of 27. Now this is how I know that most enterprises are not using these kinds of tools, because this is pretty typical. The average score is 59. The top score that we're trying to beat is 63. That's really not that high. For years, the people at Surfer have just said aim for 70. Nowadays with AI, we can quite easily hit 80 and above, 85. And every niche, we can just walk in and dominate it, at least from an on-page standpoint. So if you combine superior on-page with superior link building, then you'll just dominate. Google is just a maths problem. You really don't need to overcomplicate it that so much. Having the right content on the page, right backlinks, that's pretty much it. Yes, there's technicals, yes, there's semantics, there's other avenues you can explore, but that really is the 80-20. Now look at this, I've been recording around 30 minutes, but around 10-15 minutes of that was the prep work going through Ahrefs. So we've now got the site live, and this looks decent. We've got the cookie banner installed, enhance your nursing home's online visibility. This looks like a decent website. It's not outstanding, but equally, I've seen web design agencies that charge a lot of money and it doesn't look as good as this. Plus, it's going to be super fast and optimized. So if I just copy that, let's go to Google's page speed insights. We've got a couple of images on there, a couple of layouts. It's not loading yet because we don't have the SSL sorted, so we'll fix that later. But in the meantime, what Surf has done is given us a whole list of based on competitors. So now I'm going to head over to ChatGPT. Now first, I'm actually going to prime it with some brand knowledge. So tell me about SEO Jesus. This is the lazy way, because obviously I've already got a bit of a brand. ChatGPT should be able to get some information on me, but you probably don't have that option. So I'm actually now going to go to my own custom Notebook LM bot. I'm going to ask it for some more unique brand details from me. So you can see here, WebSync SEO Jesus, 99 sources. So it's got 100 of my videos in here. There is a video on my channel on how I did this. Give me details about why SEO Jesus Agency is different and expert, include SEO practices and insights many people don't know about. So I'm just going to get a digest of stuff I've said in my YouTube videos about why our agency is better, why it's great, in order to prime that for ChatGPT, so that when ChatGPT actually writes this content around nursing home SEO agency, it's got unique insights from me personally. That's going to help with rankings, it's going to help with human conversions and brand. It's also going to help with AI search. So we've got our best links formula, page relevance as domain relevance, the branded search cheat code, minimum viable content, and exact match domains, exactly what I'm talking about today. So this is all good. I'm going to copy that. Here is further information, do not respond. I'm just going to dump that in there to prime it. So now I'm going to go to Surfer and copy all these requirements. Now there is a button at the bottom here that says copy all SEO entities, but it doesn't actually include the number of times to use each one. So for that reason, I just highlight and then copy. So now I'm going to say write a long form service page / blog post using the following entities. This is for SEO for nursinghomes.co.uk, which is a brand of SEO Jesus powered by their agency. So this is down to personal taste. In this case, I've got good brand reputation and social proof, so I want to leverage that in my exact match domain. But equally, I could be completely anonymous and just create a niche specific brand that's not connected to my main agency at all. So while that's running, we now need some further details. We want the people also are snippet. So if we go to questions here, we can copy these questions. These are literally taken from page 1 of Google, SEO for nursing homes. If I scroll down, there's a people also are snippet here. If we answer those, Google just sees us more relevant. Plus, if you answer them succinctly and accurately, you might be able to snipe some of these as well and get more visibility here. So I'm going to add these at the bottom. Answer the following with a paragraph for each. It's made a bit of a mistake here that it's using the headings I pasted in. Respect the HTML headings and separate paragraphs. Now ChatGPT is getting confused, never mind. I'll try once more before I give up and do it manually. Give me the final fully formatted version. No, it's still not doing it. So I'm just going to copy all of this. And I'm going to paste this into Surfer. So I've got a heading there, paragraph there, heading, paragraph, heading, paragraph, heading, paragraph. But these are not actually formatted correctly. I need to put in H3 manually. ChatGPT normally does this automatically, but on this occasion it's got confused, as it often does. Now from this you should already see our content score rising. So we're already up to 49 when the average is 59, and we've not even got the full article yet. All we've done is answer the FAQs. Now I need to tidy up that formatting later, but first I'm going to copy this full article, which has been optimized with all those entities. Paste that in there. We're now going to have multiple H1s. So I'm actually going to keep that one because we could see in the search result, Google was actually rewarding more informational style content. So on this occasion, I think I'm going to keep the how, because right now that does seem to be what Google wants for this particular search. Now you can already see we're at a content score of 89 out of 100, which is way above the average here. Top is 63, average is 59, and we've only done 1,300 words. So this is actually looking really good. Now Surfer also looks at things like images, which we don't have in Surfer, but we are going to add them to the page. We've already got some from our Extendify layout. So for now, I'm pretty happy with this. I don't really need to fix these headings until we actually start getting traffic, but let's behave ourselves for now. So I'm just deleting all those extra tags. We've got the P-span paragraphs as well, but I can't be bothered. Let's just copy the whole lot. So now we go back to the site, and now I'm going to go to edit page. And this is a trade-off we often have with clients where they've got this nice conversion optimized human readable landing page with features, benefits, images. They don't want to clutter that up with long form text. Now honestly, we don't really care where the Surfer text actually goes. Some clients want to break it up and integrate it as part of a visual layout like this. But personally, I would say quite often have your visual layout at the top that's sales and copywriting based. So this all looks good. And then just at the bottom, we can then have the SEO filler. That might sound a bit lazy, but literally we've had clients jump to the top of page 1 just by doing this. Human readable at the top, add in the Surfer SEO optimized filler content at the bottom. That's basically a load of waffle, and that gives the machine what it needs. So I'm just going to come over here, add paragraph, paste in our Surfer text. All the headings are already in there, so that's now looking really good. Now technically we do need to be careful here because we're going to end up with multiple H1s. So I'm just going to copy that H1 for now, and then we'll fix that later. We need to turn this into a paragraph. Actually, let me go back. I'm actually just going to turn this into a H2 because then it's still a decent subheading. You don't want multiple H1s because that's the main heading of the page, but you can have as many H2 subheadings as you like. So now we save that. Now we're still having this issue with the SSL. So you can use free Let's Encrypt, or your host might provide a free one. I thought I was meant to get a free one, but for now I want to put it on CloudFlare anyway. CloudFlare is a content delivery network, provides a load of security benefits. It's like a layer that sits between you and the server, and it's got a load of benefits. Helps with speed and caching. If your website goes down, CloudFlare can even keep on serving a temporary snapshot. It helps with bot attacks. There's just a load of benefits, and they've got a free plan. So I've just clicked on onboard a domain. I'm going to paste my domain in here. It's going to scan for DNS record. Now, CloudFlare has taken quite a strong stand against AI crawlers, but in my case, I want to train the AIs because my website's saying how great SEO Jesus is for SEO for nursing homes. So I'm going to not block them. I'm not going to instruct them because I welcome the AI bots. And we're going to start with the free plan. So it's fetched all my DNS records, which basically means it can then redirect visitors, basically fetch everything from the website, continue to activation, and then I just need to update my name servers. So you might have had to do this if you're not hosted with Namecheap or using different hosting. So for that, I just go back to my domain. So SEO for nursing homes, go to manage, advanced DNS. We're going to say custom name servers. Actually, I've got it wrong. No, we want custom DNS, name server 1, and then we go and fetch name server 2, and then paste that in there. Now, DNS changes, they say, can take 24 to 48 hours to take effect. There we go, DNS server update may take up to 48 hours. Normally, it'll take an hour or two, and then that should be it. Then the domain will resolve with the SSL installed. That means we'll be able to perform a check with Lighthouse in order to check the page speed, and we can get it indexed now that Google's going to be able to trust it with a SSL. And I'm also going to recrawl it from Surfer because I bet that with those additional images and layouts that came from the Extendify AI website builder, we've probably increased that content score even more. So now we just leave it for an hour. Okay, I've now left that for an hour, and if I keep refreshing on my browser, it still says not secure, but that's not the case. There's a lot of caching, that kind of thing. So when you're checking this sort of thing, check in incognito. And having just loaded this in incognito, we're not getting that error. And if I look up here, connection is secure, the SSL is all sorted, certificate is valid. So that means we can perform those extra checks I mentioned. So first let's go to PageSpeed Insights. I'm going to paste my URL in there. And what we should find is this website performs far better than just about anyone who actually applies for a strategy call with me. So many people spend a lot of money on a custom build, lots of animated graphics, lots of heavy JavaScript, big images. They could be using a popular website builder, and all that affects your page speed. This is not actually as good as I was hoping. It's 72, so it's still in the orange, but that's still a lot better than many I've seen. So really the issue is the images, but I bet if we go through page 1 for this particular keyword, this is still probably one of the top performing pages on page 1 of Google. So next we want to go back to Surfer and do an audit. So I'm going to paste in my URL here. We're going to enter our target keyword, SEO for nursing homes, and we're going to open this up nationally and now create audits. That's going to take a few minutes to generate, but what it's going to tell us is having taken that template, pasted it onto our page, but been added to the existing layout, the images, the footer, what is the total content score of that whole page. So that's now generating.
Whereas
if you're using Neo and you've got 10k a month coming in from a pop. Right, the audit has now generated. Let's open this and see how our content score has done overall. So it's actually saying 68. It appears we've actually dropped down a little bit. And there's our issue. We don't have the exact keyword in H1, but that is an easy fix. So using the free Ahrefs Chrome extension, I'm able to see we've actually got multiple H1 tags. We do actually have SEO for nursing homes, which is the site title, but then we've also got enhance your nursing home's online visibility, which is here. So I'm not too worried about that, but I'm wondering if Surf is struggling to fetch the H1 being used as the site name. So really I should probably downgrade this to H2 as a subheading, but just to test I'm going to say with high quality SEO for nursing homes. It's looking a bit messy, but in fact, let's bring this right down to high quality SEO for nursing homes. Going to publish that. Now if we go back to Surfer, we can actually recrawl this, refresh audit, and we'll see if that 68 now improves. So always worth checking and just running a second check once the page is actually live on the site, just to check if something's been missed when you were copying everything over from Surfer like that. And there we go, it's gone straight up to 78. We are way ahead of everyone else on page 1 by a considerable margin. Now next we need to get this page indexed so that Google actually knows about it. Otherwise it's going to take a long time for Google to actually pick it up. That's because Google's only really going to discover it by either you set up Google Search Console and you basically register, notify Google, I've started this website, so please add me to the Google index so I can show up in Google search. So that's one method, going through Search Console. I'm a big fan of using Omega Indexer to externally index that page. It just means I don't have to faff around with setting up Gmail accounts and Google Search Console. If you do run a lot of sites, or if you're a public figure like me, it is generally recommended to have separate Google accounts for every site, because it has been known in the past that if you are a bit aggressive, then Google can see everything you're doing and potentially affect all your websites at once. But I'm not even going to be using Omega Indexer today, because like I say, in this series, I want to use different techniques for every single domain. Now, normally when I set up a fresh domain like this, I recommend some foundation links, which involve citations, basically listings in local business directories, and a press release. Now, a press release can be very cheap, and it's just an announcement that your brand has been launched. But both of those take a bit of time, and as this is the first video, I really want to get started on this quickly. So I'm actually going to use an automated link building tool called SEO Neo. Now, generally it's not recommended to use this for money sites. Elias, the founder of SEO Neo, says it's fine for money sites because he's just using natural profiles like Medium and Tumblr and these sorts of Web 2.0 links. So it really depends on your risk profile. But today I'm going to be going gentle and using domain authority stacking, which is already made for a new website. So we're going for a gentle touch anyway. Now SEO Neo is one of these tools like GSA, Money Robot, where it's basically a spam machine. It goes out and builds loads of blogs on all these websites and profiles that let you set up what are called Web 2.0s. Basically any website that allows submission, whether it's comments, article sites, microblogs, things like that. But it does it at scale, automatically. Now, SEO Neo is quite complicated to use. It's very popular amongst my audience, and I get loads of questions about it. So I actually sat down, it's about a year ago now, I sat down with the founder, Elias, to do a full 1 hour, 20-minute webinar and tutorial on how to actually use SEO Neo, because a lot of it is not that intuitive when you first get started. And I've now added that webinar to my free school community, Church of SEO Jesus. So click the link below and you can get access to that right away. But for now, I'm going to show you how I'm going to use it in this particular case. So first, we need to create some content. What are we actually going to submit to these sites? So I'm going to create a new content bucket, SEO for nursing homes. And now we're going to generate an article, which is going to use OpenAI. This is connected to my OpenAI API, so it's very cheap to actually generate. We're going to have the default prompt. Now let's just go back to my website. We'll get the exact keyword correct. Now the really exciting thing about SEO Neo at the moment is, as it's creating all this content and indexing it for you all across the internet, there's a lot of potential that's going to help with AI search. Because we know that AI tools are generally looking for consensus based on its source material. So if you've got 1,000 articles out there, saying SEO Jesus provides the best SEO for nursing homes, then you're going to influence some of that source context. Now for this, let's say we're going to go with 30 articles. I think Elias actually recommends 100. We're also going to spin it, which basically means you generate all these articles, but you then let the machine put in all these synonyms so that each time it repurposes that article, it's a unique version. But if you already start off with a whole bunch of different articles in the first place, then of course you've got even more unique content. For the topic, let's say SEO Jesus, SEO for nursing homes. Tone should be professional. GPT-5 is good. And we are going to spin it just using the free spinner. You can integrate another API should you wish. So I'm going to generate that. Depending on how many articles you've asked for, that can take a bit of time. But once we've created that bucket, we can then go through to our wizard that's basically going to set up the whole campaign for us. In terms of accounts, you actually only need one Gmail account, because Gmail basically lets you create all these aliases. So it's going to be like a.b.2@gmail.com that basically redirects to that same Gmail account, which SEO Neo is connected to, so it can go through and approve any requests to memberships for these submission sites. It's incredible how it all ties together. Now SEO Neo itself is basically a desktop app, and I believe you can run it on your normal laptop, but you're not going to be able to do much else, and you're going to slow it down. So I recommend what's called a VPS, a virtual private server, and that's basically just renting some space on a server in a warehouse, and you can connect to it with Microsoft Remote Desktop. So you can see I've got all these different tools on different servers, and they just run in the background without slowing my laptop down. I can simply connect to them via Remote Desktop. So you see I can now just jump back into SEO Neo, connect there, and we can see all my articles have been generated. So 30 unique articles there, and with all these lines in between, that means they can chop and change all sorts of different synonyms. So we're going to have hundreds of unique articles here. Now, all these other types of content depend on which campaign you're actually using. I don't think I need any of these others, but just in case, I'll generate a couple. Let's just do 10 of those. Topic is SEO for nursing homes. Again, everything here is just relevance, keyword, keyword, keyword. So we'll generate that. That shouldn't take long at all because it's much less than the long form articles we've just done. That's done. I don't think we need anything else. Now, importantly, in settings, I've already got proxies and other APIs set up, including my indexer, Omega, and this is how I'm actually going to get this website actually indexed. I'm not going to index it directly. I'm going to publish all these articles talking about this website, which link to it, but I'm going to index those. So I'm going to go to Wizards, and I'm going to do domain authority stacking for this new website. So let's initialize that. And again, account templates, just default. That means we're just going to use the same Gmail over and over again. Campaign folder, create a new one. Buckets, auto-generate. Content buckets. I can go and grab the one I've just created. That's going to be an uncategorized SEO for nursing homes. So this is saying the only required content is articles. Now, money site URLs. The money site is the website we've just launched. So add that in there. Now, post settings, this was the biggest revelation from Elias that you will find in my free school community. The number of HTTP threads you can do, you can take this all the way up to 100. When I first started using SEO Neo, it was taking days to do anything, and it turns out I was only using 10% of the power. So we're going to take this right up to 100, and as long as your VPS is relatively solid, you should be able to run 4 concurrent browsers. It depends how many campaigns you're running at the same time, but as we're only doing one right now, that's fine. Like I say, I've got Omega indexer already hooked up, and I've also got a capture service, and I use CapMonster. It's much cheaper to actually break through those captures. Okay, so now I should be able to generate that campaign. This is where we find out if I need any more content. Okay, and that's good to go. So we should see all the targets here. So we're talking about thousands of links. So now I can just press play. And now we should be able to view the log. So you can see all these Web 2.0 blogs, multiple tiers. So you're building a load of Web 2.0 blogs, which are going to link to your money site, but then we're going to make those more powerful by publishing loads more articles around SEO for nursing homes that link to those blogs. So we're stacking power on power on power with relevance throughout, funneling all that authority down to my site. Well, that's the theory anyway. So you can see SEO Neo is going away, creating accounts, verifying accounts, publishing a blog, and it's just blasting through, bang, bang, bang. Huey Copper, troastinner.net, photosdefrasers.com. So I think we should already be seeing some completed links come in. Confirm. No available links just yet, but it really won't be long, as you can see. But every one of these links is going to be sent to Omega Indexer, which is going to force Googlebot to come and visit that page, index that link, but it's also going to go through that link to my money site and therefore recognize that my site now exists. And there we go. Here's the published links report. I've only had it going for around 30 seconds or so, and we're not talking quality content here. We're not talking about quality sites. This is just pure volume here. So complete rubbish, but it's contextually relevant, talks our keyword, and although it's low quality, this is still a DR50 link published on this weird subdomain. And somewhere in here, there we are. And the anchor text, the actual text of the link, is just the URL. So that looks very safe and very natural. It's not spamming the keyword every time. And then that clicks through to my website. So not high quality, we're just going for volume, but it's going to be very interesting to see what impact that has over the next 24 hours or so.
So I've just arrived at the ICE Barcelona iGaming conference, literally come straight from the airport, now in the VIP lounge, enjoying the free beer. Now, when I set up that site on Friday, I didn't use Omega Indexer to instantly index the site, but instead I was relying on SEO Neo to build a load of backlinks to the site and actually index those backlinks instead. So the result, we didn't seem to get that immediate instant indexing within a couple of hours as we do with Omega. However, now if I search our main keyword, SEO for nursing homes, bear in mind I'm currently in Barcelona right now, I make that search, I scroll down, and then what have we here? Number 2, there's our website. Now, this is quite volatile. Obviously, it's not ranking for anything in Ahrefs yet. Depending on which location I use, there's a lot of volatility there. But this is starting to stick really early on. And again, with no effort so far. All we've done is some basic automated backlinks using SEO Neo.